What do we got?
All
What
right,
else
let's
we
move
got?
on to our next story here, which comes to us courtesy of Marketing Dive. And it is about a brand backlash. It says, Are 2023's
Ooh.
epic marketing fails part of a bigger problem? Controversies impacting Bud Light and Target have sent a chilling effect across the industry, but purpose may be more important than ever, says the author of this article. Opens up by saying, Purpose driven marketing came under fire in 2023 with controversies roiling high profile brands, profile brands for months on end. The outcry, which extended beyond the online kerfuffles, roiling and kerfuffles
Kerfuffles?
in the first, yeah,
Kerfuffles?
kerfuffles
What?
and roiling. Yeah.
This might be AI generated
Yeah, to
story.
actually dent sales and revenue has sent a chilling effect across an industry already contending with economic constraints. While the case for purpose remains strong, with plenty of research touting the potential benefits to the bottom line, these false steps may be symptoms of a larger underlying problem related to weak brand building. CMOs under growing pressure to tie their work to short term results have spun too far forward performance media, says experts, making their brand's positioning less defined and resilient against misfires. Boy, do I disagree with that. And we'll talk about that in a second. At the same time, advertisers and agencies alike are contending with the existential threat posed by the rise of general artificial intelligence, which could make the lack of distinct brand identities more of a liability. Marketers have spent much of 23 wondering whether their jobs are imperiled by automation, but purpose carries a degree of complexity and nuance that could still require the human touch to pull off. Goes on the article then to basically talk about the perfect storms of AI and technology and performance based marketing and how that has truly affected this whole idea of purpose driven topic based marketing. But anyway, what do you think about all this? Are they right? Is this the right challenge that we're seeing marketers face right now?
I think I'm a little torn, to be honest, because when there's a CMO that starts talking about purpose driven marketing historically, and I love it. I love what the importance of certain issues and getting behind them and standing for something. I love when brands do that. But what I found is that they only do it when their financials are in order. When there is a brand out there who is struggling financially, the purposes go to hell, to be honest. That's what you generally see. And that's my concern with the whole purpose driven marketing. I know you and I both know a lot of wonderful thought leaders, authors, writers that have taken the purpose driven marketing path. And we've talked about it a lot. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I remember P&G back in the day, Pritchard and the whole thing. But when times get tough, out the window they go. Forget that purpose. So when you generally see all the great case studies around purpose driven marketing, it's with somebody that's doing really really well, performing great. When they're not performing well, forget it. And that's why normally when I look at it, I don't even give it two thoughts about the purpose driven brands for 2024, because those are the brands that are doing really really well profitably, and they're doing all their other marketing really well, so they have the time to focus on this. I know that's a very cynical way to look at it, but that's the problem that I have with it.
Yeah. I I think you're right on the symptoms, right? I think you're right on the symptoms, but I think the disease is simply that it comes down to the from a business strategy perspective. Like if we pull it all the way up into the C-suite, and we say, what is the business strategy problem here or the disease here? It's that many brands see these purpose-driven campaigns or purpose-driven marketing as a means of making noise rather than something than actually explaining what they really believe in. And so I think that gets down to what you just talked about, right? Which is that they see it as a tactic of it can be afforded during good times, but not
Yes,
afforded during bad times because it's a higher risk performative type
and a more
of
longer
play.
term.
And yeah, and it's instead of a longer term strategy, right?
Yeah,
And so the successes that we see here are where brands earn their way in over time and truly believe what it is they're talking about. And I don't mean the people in the marketing teams. I mean the brand. Everybody in the business, all the way up to the CEO, stands behind whatever it is that the brand is saying in that particular moment. This is why you can have Ben and Jerry's take such, to some people controversial, to some people not so controversial takes, and everything. It's imbued in everything they do,
Yeah.
right? It's how REI can do this. It's how Nike can do this. It's how
Patagonia is another one.
Patagonia. It's all of these companies that we go, well, yeah, of course that's what they do, because it's imbued into what they truly believe. The reason that you see someone like a Bud Light get in trouble here is not because of the position they took. It's because that they didn't really believe it. Right. In other words, when the immediate reaction, and we talked about this on the show before, right? When the immediate reaction from the executives is, "Oh, we're sorry, we didn't mean to offend anybody." It's like, no, you've already come out in a defensive position. You should have, if you're already sorry that you didn't mean to offend anybody, well, then you should have not taken the position in the first place.
Yeah.
And so what you've done ostensibly, and I've talked about this before, is the interesting thing about where Bud Light is right now isn't that they made a cohort mad, and isn't that they made another cohort mad. In other words, one of their marketing segmentations was really mad at them for backtracking, and another one of their marketing segmentations was really mad that they took the place in the first place. The biggest thing is that the big messy middle of who would normally buy the product went, "I don't care." And that's the worst of all, right? Is when you get to a point where your purpose-driven marketing isn't making people mad or happy or overjoyed, a small group. It's when the larger group that you're trying to get to buy your product goes, I don't, I just don't care. I don't care about who they are as a brand. You've now made me not care. That's the worst of all possible outcomes. And so that's when you get sort of, I'm not buying your brand as Bud Light. I'm not buying your brand because, you stand up for, LGBTQ rights, and then the LGBTQ community is mad because you backtracked against it, and you're throwing your major influencer under the bus. Now everybody else doesn't buy because it's like, I don't want to be part of it. I don't care. I don't care to be part of it. So I'll just go buy something else. And
I think it's the same thing with content marketing, right? It's the
Right.
campaign mentality versus this is taking our brand mission and executing it throughout everything we do.
That's right.